Welcome back to Spirit of the Outdoors, another episode of Just in Time. I'm going to attempt to film this out here. I know it's raining, it's sounding off on this roof, thundering a little, but this is the driest, most outside place I can find to film, and just where I want to film some of these now. We're not going to forget the tailgate of the truck, but seems like I've had so much going on recently. Not been able to get on the tailgate of the truck, and with the weather today, it's just couldn't happen. But I do have something I want to share with y'all, and it's some insight that I feel like the Lord gave me. So I want to share it with y'all. Now, it has been a while since I preached this, but this came back to me this week, and I feel like sharing it with you guys. So I'm going to read a little about Samson. Familiar story in the Bible, but I've got a different viewpoint of some parts of it. Well, we're going to read not the whole story, but a little of it. In the beginning, chapter 13, when it starts talking about Samson, it says, "And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years. And there was a certain man of Zorah of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and bare not. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto the woman, and said unto her, Behold now, thou art barren, and thou bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Now therefore beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come upon his head. For the child shall be a Nazarite unto God from the womb, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines." Now I want you to take note. This angel appears to this woman and tells her that you're going to have a son. And it tells her that because he is a Nazarite unto God, don't ever let him cut his hair. You don't drink any strong drink, and you don't do this, but when he's born, you don't ever cut his hair. This is a commitment to God. And this will be that he acknowledges this commitment. Don't never cut his hair. Why God chose that, I don't know. So I want to skip now over into chapter 16 and where he falls in love with a woman named Delilah. In Judges 16 and verse 15, I'm going to start there. "And she said unto him, How canst thou say that I love thee when thine heart is not with me? Thou hast mocked me these 3 times." Okay, to clarify, 3 times he's told her different things. If you'll bind me with new ropes, or if you'll weave my hair into the weaver's beam, and into 7 locks. And he told her 3 different things that to do, and she tried all of them to kill him, have him arrested, and he'd break free. "Mocked me these 3 times, and hast not told me wherein thy great strength lieth. And it came to pass when she pressed him daily with her words, and urged him, so that his soul was vexed unto death, that he told her all his heart, and said unto her, There hath not come a razor upon mine head, for I have been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak, and be like another man. And when Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart, she sent and called the lords of the Philistines, saying, Come up at once, for he has showed me all his heart. And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her, and brought money in their hand. And she made him sleep upon her knees, and she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head. And he began to afflict him, and his strength went from him. And she said, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep, and said, I will go out as at other times before, and shake myself. And he wist not that the Lord was departed from him. Goes on to say the Philistines captured him, bound him up, plucked out his eyes, put him in captivity. And this is the story of Samson. Now this story has baffled me for a long time. I wondered, how did a man that was so strong, so mighty, had a commitment from God, knew that commitment, lay down in a woman's lap and tell her, bind me with new ropes. And she bound him with new ropes and called for the enemy to come take him. And he broke through and whooped them all. And she pleaded with him, and then he told her, well, if you'll weave my hair into 7 locks into a weaver's beam, I'll be, And I can't remember, there was another one, I can't remember off the top of the head, but there was 3 different things that he told her to do, and she tried every one of them. After she had done this, what made him decide to share with her the truth and tell her, if you'll cut my hair, I'll be as weak as any other man? He had to have knew she was going to do it, going to try it. She had done proved that 3 times. And I thought about this. And I felt like God has spoke to me back. It's been several months back when I preached this, when God gave it to me then. And I realized that the Lord never told Samson. The angel never appeared to Samson and said, hey, don't never cut your hair. All he knew was that's what Mama said. Mama and Daddy said for me not to never cut my hair. At some point in this part of Samson's life, when he's toying with Delilah, he has decided in his mind that his strength is not of God, but of himself. And he decides to try. And he really believed that his strength was his own. And I thought about this. Because it said when he rose up and shook himself as at other times, that he wist not that the Spirit had left him. When he awoke and the enemy was on him, he did not even realize that he was as weak as they were. He didn't know that his strength was gone. Distracted by the world, distracted by lust, decided that, hey, I can do this, I got this. I don't need no sacrifice. I don't need no signs of commitment to God. I'll do this my way. I don't believe all that old stuff. My mom and daddy just told me that because they just wanted me to have long hair. And a lot of us get that same way. See, there was a lot of stuff handed down through generations. And every generation has lost a little bit. And you stop and you look right now at your religion, at what you believe, at your way of worshiping God and attending church and what you do in the name of religion, and you compare it to what was left in the book of Acts, what Paul wrote about, what Peter and John, these others in the back of the book wrote about. Does it match up? Is it exactly the same? I dare say it ain't. I dare say it ain't for any of us. Because I read of a story where Peter and John walked into a temple and there was a man sitting there begging. And they looked at him and said, silver and gold have I none, but such as I have give I thee. Rise and walk. And the man got up and walked. I read another story about their shadow passing across a man and he was made whole. You see, you don't see this stuff happen very often. I've seen some miracles in my life. I have told about them on this channel. I've watched God deliver me from alcohol. I didn't have to struggle with it. I didn't have to fight. God delivered me. I've seen healings. I've seen the dead raised one time in my life. I'll never forget it. I have seen a few miracles, Bible-worthy miracles, but not a lot. Not many. And oftentimes I wonder if it's not because we have lost some of the commitments that we were supposed to keep. Because, well, Mama and Daddy believed it this way. Them old timers, they just didn't, they was too strong. They was too strict. And we forget that it's about a commitment. It's about a sign to God that, hey, God, I'm this committed to you. I'll do this for you, even though it may not be necessary for salvation. This is where my strength lies. This is a sign to you, God, that I'm committed. Whatever that is you're thinking of. Whether it's in how you dress, how you act, some things maybe that you abstain from, some sacrifices you make, or whether it's just simple of prayer life and fasting and whatever. But I'll tell you this, we're not going to walk scot-free into heaven strong, fighting the enemy that we've got to fight in this day and time without some sacrifice, without acknowledging some commitments. There's some things been lost somewhere along the way since what we was given in the book of Acts. The book of Acts is the story of the first church. What God intended for us to have, what He poured out on us when He left this world and said, I've changed the plan of salvation. I have changed the way everything is going to operate, and this is what I am. He told Peter, He said, upon this rock I will build my church. He was talking about on your message, Peter, on you. I'm going to build a church on you, Peter. And from then till now, we have lost so much. Simply because a lot of people wake up one day and go, I think I got this. I don't need those commitments. I don't need to make those sacrifices. All that's not necessary. I think this, I can do this my way, on my own. And that's what Samson done. And Samson thought he was still all right as he lay asleep in the enemy's lap. He felt like, I'm still okay. I still got this. And when he realized the enemy was there and she awakened him and said, Samson, here they are. They're come to get you. He still did not know that his strength was gone. Until they captured him and they grabbed him and he couldn't get rid of them. And now that you're fighting enemies in your life and you're praying against things in your life, and it ain't leaving you alone, I'm just going to tell you the truth. You wis not that the Spirit hath left you. Oh, a lot of people say, I don't believe that you can lose your salvation. You can't lose the Spirit. You can't lose. Samson lost his. What makes you think you can't lose yours? Are you special? No, you're not. I'm not either. What I've got is through commitment that I have made and sacrifices I make in my life. And I don't make near enough. I promise you I don't. But we fixing to have to revive some stuff in our lives. We fixing to have to bring back some stuff where we start cutting some stuff out of our life and start getting a hold of some other stuff. Because see, the angel never told Samson. He told Mama and Daddy. And it was Mama and Daddy's job to pass it down to Samson. And it was Samson's job to listen to Mama and Daddy and say, you know what, these old timers know what they're talking about. We're going to listen to them. And if you don't listen to some of the old men of God in your life, some from the generations gone before that had some fruit on the vine, that knew what they were doing, that grew a church, that built some things, that had revival, that the Spirit moved in their life, that the signs followed them, that's the men that you look at and women that you look at and say, I'm going to pattern after the way they did it. the sacrifices that they made. If they prayed every day for an hour and that's what it takes, then that's what I'm going to do. If it takes fasting, if it takes dressing holy and acting holy and talking holy, if it takes some experiences that I ain't sure about, if it takes whatever it takes, I'm willing to do, Lord, whatever I got to do to get back where we're supposed to be. Because a lot of us don't even realize that the Spirit has left us, that we don't even have what we say we've got. Samson thought he had it. Lost it. But the good part of this whole story is that they brought him out to mock him. He'd been in jail. He'd been working. He'd been pushing a grist mill, doing the job of a donkey or an ox. Said his hair began to grow. I don't know how long he was in captivity. It must have been quite a while. But his hair grew back out. That commitment was regained. He went back to it. He understood it. He'd done paid the price. He still had some scars in his life. There was some things lost, like his eyesight, that he'd never get back again. We've lost some things that we probably won't never get back. We've lost some people that we may not ever get back. Sad. It's a price that we may have to pay. But they brought him out to mock him. He asked him to lead him to the pillars, build a building up that he could prop on him. They took him to him. He began to talk to God. He asked God to forgive him. Asked God to let his strength return. And in the final moments of his life, he was remained victorious. He died a champion. Cost him his life. But the Spirit returned. As we stand on the brink of the last days of this world, it's up to us to have a last day revival. And it's not going to come with a lay me down to sleep religion. It's only going to come when we start digging up some things that we lost somewhere along the way. When we go back and rekindle some commitments and acknowledge some commitments that we were commanded throughout that New Testament. When there's some sacrifices made. When we get in this Word and begin to read it and understand it. And not listen to just every person that's, oh, you know, all that ain't necessary. They probably don't know. Because, see, it was up to Mom and Daddy to pass it down. And then that one to pass it on down to theirs. And every generation as it passed down, it's lost a little. Every generation has lost a little bit. There's been places that it revived, like at Azusa Street, at Topeka, Kansas. There's places that different men brought it to the new world, they call it, when we come to this country in America. And it revived here for a little while, but we're at a place now where it's about died all back out. We've just got a shell of religion now. There's a few people still holding on to it. But we're going to have to go back to some things that are real in this book and get a hold of God in a way that the old timers had a hold of God. And we can have this last day revival. It's going to cost us something. It's not going to come without sacrifice. I love y'all. I'm praying for you. I hope these messages help you to grow in God. I'm not here to scold anybody. I'm not here to tear down anybody. I'm here to build you up. And I try to share with you what God has given me. And I pray that it stews in your heart and grows in your soul. If I can just plant a seed in you, that's all I need to do. God will give the increase. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Remember, if you'll do a little better today than you did yesterday, tomorrow will be a better day. We'll see y'all. Y'all have a good one.